Hey there, mathematicians. Um, as we are wrapping up our work with probability, we have one thing left to do. You guys have done a really great job working through probability in this weird learning situation. Um, I can tell from the things you guys are doing that you're really getting theoretical probability. You're understanding how to find experimental probability based off of what you see when you do some trials, and that you're understanding those three parts of the probability model. The last thing we have to do is a little bit different. So it's taking now what's called compound events. And now we're going to be talking about two things happening at the same time. So this could be, I'm going to flip a coin and roll a dice. What's the chance that I get heads and the number three? So we're going to look at those combinations of things and figure out first, how do we list all the outcomes? And then how do we find the probability based on that? So my example here is in my house, I have three kinds of cheese. I have cheddar, Swiss, and American cheese. And I have two types of bread. I have sourdough bread and I have wheat bread. Now, I want to make a grilled cheese, but I need to figure out how many different types of grilled cheese I can make using one kind of bread and one kind of cheese. Now, let's be real for a minute. This would be the best sandwich if I combined all the cheeses together, right? The American would be nice and gooey. Okay, yes, it'd be great if I used a slice of each. However, what I'm looking at is one type of bread, one type of cheese. How many combinations can I make? So the first way we can do this is by using what's called a tree diagram. I'm going to show you this. There are also some examples in the document. After you're done watching this video, scroll down a little bit. There's some examples of it. And there's a little video linked because you can do tree diagrams kind of side to side like I'm going to show you today. You can also do them up and down, which is a great option as well. Either of them work. You'll end up with the same outcomes. It's just if one feels more comfortable to you. So what I've done is for my tree diagram, I've kind of already labeled my columns for you. So I'm going to start by choosing the bread because when I'm making my grilled cheese, I know that the first thing I have to do is I've got to get the butter on the bread so I can get it down on my griddle and get it ready to go. So I'm going to choose my bread first, then my cheese second. Then I'm going to end up with my combination, my outcome sandwich here. So first I'm gonna do a little abbreviating so I don't have to write out every one of these words up here. So I'm gonna say my bread choices, I can choose either sourdough bread or I can choose wheat bread, okay? Either one I choose, there's my first step. Now, if I've chosen sourdough bread for my first choice, I can still choose any of these three cheese options. So if I've chosen sourdough bread, I could still choose cheddar cheese, I could choose Swiss cheese, or I could choose American cheese. Do you see how it's branching out there? That's why we call it a tree diagram, the branches. So if I've chosen wheat bread, I still have these same three choices. No one is like, oh my goodness, it is absolutely impossible to have a wheat bread grilled cheese with Swiss. Can't do it. That's not a thing. You can do whatever you'd like here. So with wheat bread, I can choose cheddar cheese, I can choose Swiss cheese, or I can choose American cheese. Okay, do you see how I've now repeated the same choices here and here? Because with sourdough bread, I still have three choices. With wheat bread, I have, again, three cheese choices. Now, the last column here is where we write the combination. And we just draw a straight line across. This would be sourdough bread with cheddar cheese. This one is sourdough bread with Swiss cheese. And then sourdough bread with American cheese. So all I'm doing is rewriting. If I start over here at my starting point and I'm following my path. So I chose sourdough bread, cheddar cheese. Here's my outcome. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to say, okay, now I chose wheat bread and cheddar cheese. This one is wheat bread with Swiss cheese. And this last one is wheat bread with American cheese. So I can clearly see when I look here that I have 6 different outcomes using 3 types of cheese and 2 types of bread. I can make 6 different grilled cheeses. Now over here, if I want to make just a list, sometimes it's called an organized list because we don't want to go all willy-nilly through this. But I could start and I could say, okay, if I choose sourdough bread, I could choose cheddar cheese. I could do sourdough bread with Swiss cheese. I could do sourdough bread with American cheese. So again, I start with one of my options and I say, okay, if I've chosen sourdough bread, here are my choices for cheese. That's every combination using sourdough bread. So now I'm going to move on to wheat bread. With wheat bread, I could choose cheddar cheese. With wheat bread, I could also choose Swiss cheese. And my last option is wheat bread with American cheese. You'll notice this combination outcome and this list are exactly the same because we've gotten to all the options either way. Sometimes it's really easy to do a list like this when there aren't many choices. However, there are times where you might have 3 different things happening. Maybe now I looked in my fridge and I found some turkey and some ham. So now what does that do to the possible combinations? So be thinking about which of these is going to make the most sense to you. If you're somebody who doesn't think they can just work through a list in an organized way, this might not be for you. If you're somebody who's like, you know what, I'm really good at making these organized lists and working systematically through something, you might be fine with a list. But this tree diagram will always help you branch out from your initial starting point to one of the choices, to the next choice, and ultimately get you to your combination. Go ahead and look over the examples that I've linked in the document. Make sure you watch the little video on tree diagrams. Again, it's pretty short, but it'll be a nice way for you to see this again and see it in a different way as well. And then go ahead and try the activities below. I think there's 3 of them where you're going to be doing this. You're going to be making these combinations. If you choose to do a tree diagram for these activities, you can do it in Google Draw. If you're someone who knows how to work that, this will be an easy thing to make in Google Draw. You'll insert your lines, and then you'll use a little text box to list all your words. And then you can insert that into your document. Or if you'd rather do this on paper, which probably would be my preference, it's a little quicker for me to write this out. Go ahead and write it on a piece of paper and then take a picture of it. Either hold it up to your Chromebook camera or snap a picture on your phone and insert that into your document. Either one is fine with me, whatever's easiest for you. We will have office hours every Tuesday, Thursday at 1:30. Please stop in if you have a question about anything probability related. This is our last probability activity, and then we're going to move on next week to statistics. So once we start to look at all of this, how do we find different statistics like mean, median, mode, based off of the data that we have. So these kind of tie in together, but we want to get this probability understanding first before we move on to that. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.